again, I refuse to give up my sparkle in life, my enthusiasm for life, my enthusiasm for the topics I care about, and my joy just because someone thinks it's weird. That is not a good reason to stomp out vibrancy, in my opinion. You're gonna have to give me a lot better reason, like the world is gonna end unless you give up your vibrant enthusiasm for femininity. Okay, so alright, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. Today, we are talking about the very exciting topic that I've kind of teased before, but it's how we can add more vibrancy to our everyday lives. This topic is really important to me because I feel that I have worked really hard to grow into a more vibrant person. Believe it or not, I have not always been this sunshiny throughout my whole life. You know, as a child, I was very vibrant, but I did go through some grief in my life, some dark times, pain, you know, when you can barely crawl to the counseling office. I have been there. I understand what it feels like to feel like there's no reason to get out of bed in the morning, and mental and emotional anguish. And I really want to extend my sympathy to anyone in the audience experiencing that season of life right now. It is so painful. I also know that there's a lot of, diagnosable mental states that people can be in where, they can't function without counseling or medicine or some sort of medical attention, and I also have sympathy for you. And I'm not saying that these tips are gonna solve any kind of serious medical condition, but I do think that everyone can benefit from trying to pursue more vibrancy in their daily life. So I don't think that these tips are necessarily gonna solve anyone's problems, but I do hope that they're inspiring, helpful, because these 10 things have really uplifted my life, brought so much more vibrant joy to my life, and that's what I wanna do with my channel. I wanna help everybody as much as I can to help you live more full and exciting lives. So let's dive in to the first area, which I made a whole video about this, but it's channeling that Disney princess energy. I've defended Disney princesses before, but I believe that Disney princesses are honestly a really good example of how to have that vibrancy for life. Many of those women experienced mental anguish, trauma at the hands of their caregivers, imprisonment, curses, very dark things in life, but yet they still find a reason to live. They find joy. They have that, vibrant inner core. It's a little bit intangible. It's a little bit hard to explain, but I think that we all have our own favorite princess. We have our own favorite qualities of that princess that we can maybe mirror in our own lives. For me, I really love that Rapunzel kind of attitude. She has all these hobbies. She's really adventurous. She's very curious. She wants to explore the world, and she doesn't let the dark situation she's experiencing hold her back from seeking out that joy. Her spirit hasn't been broken. And then another favorite princess of mine, Cinderella, someone who has so much kindness and care and love for the world despite extremely painful relational circumstances with her stepmother and stepsisters. Disney princess vibes is really about not having a crushed spirit. Again, these women went through hard times, but they still had the joy to explore the world, to sing, to discover, and to share their love with other people. And that's really what I want to encourage you today. And the reason I've attached it to Disney princesses is because it's something that most of us are familiar with. It's something that you can recall in your memory, and it's something that you can easily follow as an outline, how you can increase that vibrancy in your daily life. Right, the second area, the way I increase more vibrancy in my daily life, I've mentioned this so many times, but it's by involving myself in more hobbies and creativity. The more you engage with hobbies and creativity, the more you can kind of unlock that vibrant childlike self where you are playing in the world. You're learning what your hands can do, you're discovering what your brain can create, and you're just exploring your abilities. Creating to bless yourself, bless other people, to grow your own talents, to grow as a person, it's a very exciting and vibrant use of your time. For a while in my life, I was so caught up in dating and social media and what do people think of me and just adult stress that I kind of lost touch again with that childlike vibrancy. But engaging in hobbies, baking, sewing, cooking, painting, it reminded me that there's so much more to life than Instagram. There's so much more to life than who's cooler than who's talking about who, social drama. It really just enlivened my free time. So I feel like if you want to make your overall day or weeks brighter and more vibrant. Use your time towards a hobby where you can create, where you can engage, where you can be creative and output something beautiful into the world. All right, the third way I made my life more vibrant is by individual expression. Now, this can be in fashion, it can be in your home decor, it can be how you do your hair and makeup, but really it's just kind of breaking away from the pack, the trends, and discovering for yourself what you love, what you are interested in, how you want to express yourself to the world. A major way I did that in my life was by coming out online and saying, I'm a homemaker, and embracing that individuality. And the cool thing about that was then I discovered so many more homemakers and women who, shared that quality with me. And I really feel like it brightened up my life. And so as much as I do think that individual expression is so wonderful, I also think that it enlivens our community connections as well. So as you engage with individual expression, remember it's not about setting yourself up as not like other girls or better amongst the crowd, but rather it's about defining your personal taste, your creativity, so that you can also connect with other people. It's no use to define your individuality if you spend all your time looking down your nose at everyone else who's not as individual and cool as you. That's ridiculous. We should use our individuality to connect with others. And I really encourage you too, if you see someone being an individual, don't judge them for it. Engage with it. Learn about that person. It's really beautiful when people can take on their confidence, their different backgrounds, who they are, and fully embrace it. This brings us to fourth part, which is to serve others generously. I can be a naturally very self-centered person where I think about my own needs. I think about my own desires, my own life, and I forget about the needs of other people. And throughout my femininity journey and journey as a Christian, as a daughter of God, I've had to really punch out that selfish part of me so that I can serve others generously. And I do believe that it has brought my life more vibrancy, because when we don't serve others generously, when we're only focused on ourselves, I've experienced this. You feel so self-isolating. You feel so focused on yourself. It's a very narcissistic way to live, and it prevents you from creating connection. It prevents you from living outside of yourself. And I do believe that the more we serve others, the more we live outside of ourselves, the more we can grow as people and really discover human connection. And I really want to stress this isn't just about public displays of generosity. You can be generous in your own home. Serving other people reminds you that other people have lives too. They're living their life and they have needs as well. Right, the fifth way, I have talked about this for over a year. But you need to embrace your femininity. If you are a woman, you want to have a more vibrant life. Running from your femininity is going to inhibit that vibrancy, because there is something inherently vibrant about a woman who embraces the fact that she's a woman, celebrates her womanhood, and is just purely confident. I don't think everyone needs to live life like me. I don't think everyone needs to wear colorful pink bows. I don't think everyone needs to stay home. But I do believe that the more we pursue our femininity as women, the more vibrant our life will feel to us as we're living it, but also the more vibrant we will give off to other people. Honestly, even little things like dressing more femininely, wearing more feminine colors, I feel like it just adds an extra sparkle to my day. One of the things I really love about it is that it celebrates the fact that God made me a woman and He made me in His image, and I can celebrate that I'm a woman and be empowered, and I don't have to long after masculine attributes. I don't have to dress like a man. I don't have to act like a man in order to be valued by others, in order to value myself, and in order for God to value me and to love me. Embracing your femininity is one of the best things you can do if you want to add vibrancy to your life. All right, my sixth tip is to reject vulgarity and embrace innocence. A lot of people associate innocence with being naive. They think that if you're not engaging with that super adult, intense culture, that you're somehow unaware of it. But I believe that you can be innocent and still be wise to the ways of the world. I protect my innocence as much as I can, and I choose to engage with innocent content and surround myself with things that are noble and innocent, because it brings so much more purity and joy and vibrancy to my life. I noticed that the more I would feed on content or be around people or in situations that really celebrated, hookup culture, swearing, vulgarity of any kind, gore, violence, just things that are very dark in nature, the more I felt like the life within me was getting sucked out of myself. And you know, there's that level to it where someone can feel really empowered because it's very adult-like to engage with that stuff. But for me, it made me feel sad and scared and afraid of the world, you know, very drained. So I like to engage with really innocent content, innocent music, beautiful art, modesty, and just that purity. My journey to vibrancy wouldn't be possible without my affection for the innocent and without my desire to remain in a wholesome kind of environment. I've spoken about wholesomeness before, but I really believe, again, you don't have to be naive about the world just because you prefer innocence. There is so much darkness we're going to experience in this world, sad, awful adult things and sinful things and horrible things. And because of that, I don't want to actively choose that stuff in my downtime to engage with. I prefer the lighter side of life because I know that dark stuff is going to happen no matter what. I think that we have agency over the content we surround ourselves with, and choosing that pure, beautiful, innocent content has really just increase the vibrancy. All right, my 7th tip, living biblically. You know, this is going to be for my Christians in the audience. If you're not a Christian, there's no reason for you to live according to scripture because you don't believe in that. But for my Christians in the audience, this might be helpful to you. It really increased the vibrancy in my life just by reading and feeding on scripture, applying it to my life, and trying to live in active obedience. The more I fed on scripture, the more I've been able to identify my flaws and sins and things about myself that hurt other people. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't even have any vibrancy if it weren't through Christ and following scripture and obeying God and living in his holy forgiveness, diving into scripture, reading the King James, and just really learning, what does God require of me? How can I live that out in my daily life? So for my Christians, I really encourage you, if you want to add vibrancy to your life, read scripture more. Figure out how you can adhere to it, obey it, and live your life according to scripture, because it will definitely increase your vibrancy. And if you're not a Christian, you can still read the Bible and, you know, maybe explore that avenue. But I had to include that in this video because it would be dishonest to not tell you that the main reason I've grown in vibrancy is because of my walk with Christ and his sanctification in my life. All right, this brings us to the 8th tip, which is outdoor exploration. I call them my Jane Austen walks because Jane Austen heroines tend to just march out into the countryside and sort through their thoughts and see the sunrise or the sunset and engage with nature. And again, it's kind of that Disney princess vibes. But I think going outside, being in nature, can really unlock a special vibrancy in you, not just from the typical scientific vitamin D kind of side of things, which is important, but also from engaging with creation, seeing the beauty of the world around you, and reminding yourself how small you are. It's so important to me to go out into the world and even to just walk through the town, see the neighborhoods, and to remind myself that so many people are living their lives and they have things going on and it has nothing to do with me. And basically, the world doesn't revolve around me. And going out into nature really reminds me of that. It reminds me that the sun will rise, the sun will set, no matter what I do in my life. And it reminds me too that the world is so much bigger than my problems or my life. And it's just also kind of exciting. If you're a curious person, it's fun to walk through a neighborhood and, you know, see the different architecture styles and to see the birds and the squirrels. And I really just love being outside. I love walking outside. And I think it's really, again, unlocked that vibrancy. And you don't have to go crazy and go on a 3-day hike in the mountains. I've never done that. But I like to walk in my neighborhood and it makes me really happy. All right, the 9th area is about childlike curiosity. Like I mentioned, I sometimes get curious and I want to see what my neighborhood is like, so I go outside. But I think this can be challenged in many other areas as well. We can have curiosity for the world, and that again unlocks that whimsical vibrancy that we may have lost through the trauma that is puberty and being a teen and being a young adult and all the changes we experience in life. It's no secret that life can really hammer you down, and it can hammer out those whimsical, vibrant parts of your personality, those childlike parts of your personality. I think we can learn a lot from childlike curiosity, not in the sense that we should be immature and throw temper tantrums like children, but in the sense that we can learn from them to actually view the world with fresh eyes and to see things from a new perspective and to just be curious. I love being curious about the world. I love learning about topics that I'm not familiar with. And honestly, one of the best things about being done education, being a young adult, is you don't have to take compulsory classes anymore. You can choose what you want to learn about. You can regain that childlike curiosity. Life or schooling can really squish out that desire to learn from a lot of us. So I really encourage you, if you want to be more vibrant, remember that humans naturally love to learn, and we don't have to learn in the way that the education system wants us to learn. We can learn on our own, and we can learn what we want to learn, and it's a really fun process that will add more vibrancy to your life. This does bring us to the 10th and final way I added more vibrancy to my life. But it is to simply be comfortable with the fact that it's okay to care. It's okay to care about things. I think that a lot of people crush down other people's enthusiasm. People have tried to do that to me. They're like, oh my goodness, she's obsessed with femininity. And it's like, no, that's just the topic of my channel, and I can be enthusiastic about the topic if I want to. So I just really want to encourage you today, if you want to be more vibrant in life, be more vibrant by showing enthusiasm for the things you care about. It's okay to show enthusiasm, and it's okay to care. You don't need to present yourself as uncaring to the world. And I know a lot of people do this because they've been hurt, and I've been there. You don't want to show that you care first because you've been hurt before. Or maybe you genuinely feel like nothing interests you, and I understand that. But I think that when you do find something that interests you, when you do care about a person, it's okay to have enthusiasm. You can be confident in the things you care about. You can be enthusiastic about relationships or hobbies or interests. And people might call you out on it because it makes them uncomfortable, but that's their loss. Because I would so much rather be an enthusiastic person who enjoyed daily life than someone who tried to keep their defenses up their whole life, And I really encourage you to remind yourself that if someone is trying to stomp down your enthusiasm, that's their problem. It's not yours. And it can be heartbreaking, and it's easy to feel really embarrassed of yourself. I've even felt embarrassed of myself in the past when people have called me a Stepford wife, or people have told me that I'm obsessed with femininity, or I'm obsessed with traditionalism and it's weird, Okay, I think we're all a little weird. Again, I refuse to give up my sparkle in life, my enthusiasm for life, my enthusiasm for the topics I care about, and my joy just because someone thinks it's weird. That is not a good reason to stomp out vibrancy, in my opinion. You're going to have to give me a lot better reason. Like, the world is going to end unless you give up your vibrant enthusiasm for femininity. Okay, so I really just want to remind you, the stakes are not that high. We don't have to impress everybody. And the person who is truly the coolest, the person who is truly the most confident, the person who is truly the baddie is the one who doesn't let others stomp out their enthusiasm. It's the person who is just so full on themselves, you cannot crush their spirit. And that brings us back to my first point about being a Disney princess, having that Disney princess energy, not letting others tell you that you're weird just because you're enthusiastic about something. Finding joy in daily life and reminding yourself that it's so much better to live life, to have your sparkle, to be honest about your beliefs, to be open about who you are, than it is to live in fear of what other people think of you. So ultimately, I think the best way to have more vibrancy in your life is to stop feeding into what other people say about you and to instead look to the Lord and what He says about you. Define your life off of that. Find joy out of the things you care about and to be unabashedly enthusiastic about the things you care about. But that is all I have for you today. My voice is starting to wane. I'm getting a little overexcited in here, but I have switched to filming in the afternoon because you can tell I'm so much more awake in the afternoon. So this was a lot of fun. If you like this video, I have a couple other videos on my channel that interest you, including the one on Disney princesses and how I live wholesomely. I have a whole blog ripe for the reading if you're interested, but in general, I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and vibrant week, my beautiful sisters.